We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade, not because it is easy, but because it is hard. Because that goal will serve to organize the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept. One we are unwilling to postpone, and one we will win. See you there, everyone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome Bitcoin friends, it's Bitcoin Mamo. Today we're going to look at the Bitcoin chart. We'll do some TA. We see Bitcoin is continuing on its move upwards. We'll look at various time frames and also market cipher. So if that sounds interesting, stay tuned and let's get straight into the charts. I just want to start here comparing Bitcoin and a few altcoins over the month of October, as we've been doing in several videos. And we can see Bitcoin for the month of October is currently up 39%. We did see a bit of a pump from Ethereum recently, and Ethereum is up 28%. Solana is up 15%. Link is up 11.7%. And ADA is up 3%. So we do still see ADA lagging behind a bit over the month of October. And we do still see Bitcoin leading the way. I do expect this to continue going into November. Looking at the 2-week chart now, we can see Bitcoin's currently at 60,240. We can see that VPVR here, the amount of volume traded at certain price levels. And we do see it is starting to drop off the higher we go. And we are currently above this block here of volume. So this is a good sign for the bulls. We also have these order blocks here on the 2-week chart. You can see we came into this final order block here. We are currently above it. We do have another week after this week ends before we open a new 2-week candle. So we'll have to wait a while for that one. Also have this parallel channel drawn here, just connecting the lows. And we can see currently we are also above that parallel channel. This is a bit subjective as we haven't put in another local high yet. So this trend line could change depending on how the price action plays out. The stochastic RSI is looking very strong here. We're starting to tick up again. We're only at a 43 reading. So we have plenty of room to go up. And the RSI is currently making a higher high relative to this previous high. And we also have plenty of room to go up, being at a 66 level. And just comparing it to the 2013 mid-cycle pullback here, going into the end of the bull run, we see a very similar thing with the RSI here, getting a nice bounce, having this little bit of sideways movement here before continuing the rest of the bull run to the upside. And that's what we had here. We did have that initial recovery. We did go sideways for a bit. Now we can see we are looking quite strong here to push higher. We could look for Bitcoin to be close to topping out when we do get quite high here on the 2-week RSI, close to that 100 reading. The RSI is also doing a similar thing here. We can see on the recovery from that mid-cycle pullback, we did have a small pullback here and went sideways for a bit. And then once we did cross this white line here, which is this previous high here, then we did take off vertically and finish off the bull run. And similarly here, we can see we did have a bigger pullback here on the way back up on the RSI. We've gone back up higher now. We are above this white trend line and above this previous high in comparison. And I think we will do a similar thing. Move up here on the RSI. Perhaps make a lower high on the RSI, but higher high on the price. And that would be bearish divergence. And that could be the end of the bull run. So we'll be looking for a similar thing here with that bearish divergence to end the bull run. Onto the weekly chart now, we see Bitcoin's up at 60,600 almost now. Have that same parallel channel drawn. These are the 2-week order blocks. We don't have any weekly order blocks here. The lowest one was down here at 50,000. So let's look at some measured moves now. We can see doing the fib extension from this high here to this low. We see the 1.618 level as a possible target, and that is at 61,300 approximately. I would be taking some profits on my trade at this level. I did get into the trade around 47,000. I did take some profits at 57,000. I only sold 10% of the trade, and I'll sell another 15% of the trade here, so that a quarter of the trade has been sold, but with the majority still holding to get higher levels. If we were to look at this as a bull flag and do the 1-to-1 move on the linear chart, you can see this yellow line is the same distance as the low to the high here, and that would have a measured move to 63,300 approximately. So these are two targets I'd be looking for. Do you also see we are above that VPVR chunk of volume here? So it would be good for Bitcoin to close the weekly above this area. Looking at the stochastic RSI, we have had this bounce. We are pushing higher here. We're not at a 100 reading yet. So I do think we have a few more weeks here of pushing higher before we might see a pullback. And looking at the RSI, we're watching this one closely for any divergence between this high and the high that we may be putting in. And we can see currently we are above that previous high on the RSI. The previous week did close just below this area. So we need to see Bitcoin close the weekly with higher highs on the RSI. And it looks very likely that it will do that. It would have to come all the way back down to 55,000 for that to come back down. Onto the daily chart now. And I do have this channel drawn, although this is different to that parallel channel. This channel just connects this top here and this top. So it isn't parallel. These are two possibilities. But in either case, we are currently above both of these channels. And it would be good to see the daily close above the top of this channel, above 58,350 approximately. Looking at the daily EMA ribbon here, we can see it is traveling upwards quite quickly, as we did mention in that previous video. We said the top of this ribbon is the 20-week moving average. And if we take this back 20 candles, we can see it's going from this point onwards. So we do still see that we have another 6 days at these low levels. So this moving average is going to keep moving up at a similar pace here. And again, on a decent pullback, this would be the level that I would look to add to my trade at the top of this ribbon. Looking at some order blocks now here on the daily, and see that we have been respecting these order blocks. These again are supply and demand zones, where we had buyers and sellers, and where we have a red candle in an uptrend and a green candle in a downtrend. Just to show you some of those, here's a red candle in this uptrend, and this red candle in this uptrend, and these become of interest later on when we do reach these levels. And we do have these two ones higher up here, this red candle in this uptrend and this green candle in the downtrend. And currently we are playing around with this level here at around that 60,000 area. We can see we got to this order block here. We did go above it. We came back down to test it. We had these two big wicks down. We did close the body of the daily candle inside this order block, which is bullish and shows that it acted as support. And then we were testing this second order block. We got resistance several times. We came down on this candle, even tested the top of this bottom order block again. And then finally on this candle, we have broken above it. And this order block higher up here, approximately 60,000. We are above that at the moment, but we'll have to see how the daily closes. The final order block here on the daily is at 63,000, and the top of it's at 63,250. And if we just go down to the 4-hour chart, looking at these daily order blocks, we can see how much we respected this top order block here. And we did close inside it several times after it acted as resistance here over several 4-hour candles. And currently we can see we did come into this order block here and got rejected on the first go. And now we have gone back above it. This is a daily order block, so we need to look at where the daily closes. And just looking at the VPVR on the daily from this low down here at 29k to the top since we started this run, the relevant areas up here, we can see a decent spike of volume here around 57.2, 57.4 area. And then we also see a decent spike of volume here between 55.4 and 54.5. And on a pullback, I would probably expect these levels to hold. And we can also see, looking at some fib levels from the low here to the current high. These are the fib levels on the right side. And from this low here to the current high, these are these fib levels. And we do see a bit of confluence here with the 236 and the 382 level if we were to have a pullback. And quite often when we're this bullish, we look at the fib from the current move up, and the 382 level is quite often an area we would bounce on a pullback. But we are very bullish, not looking for a pullback at the moment, and we just keep moving these fib levels up higher as we do move higher until we do get that pullback, and then we can look at these areas more closely. Looking at the stochastic RSI, we are quite high here. We have stayed here for quite a while, pretty much all of October, and we can spend a lot of time up at these levels on the stochastic RSI. The RSI is the more important one, looking for divergences. And we can see currently we are making a higher high relative to the previous high and also this high. So there are no divergences here on the daily chart. And we also see, looking at the previous high here at 53,000, we have made higher highs. So there is no divergence and everything's looking bullish here. Looking at the Bitcoin futures chart on CME, we do have these order blocks drawn, although I prefer them on the spot price chart as being more reliable. But the CME chart does close after today's trading, so it will be interesting to see what Bitcoin does over the weekend. If we do end up going higher over the weekend, we might create a gap on the futures chart, and on Monday we might come down and fill that gap before going higher. We are also above all the areas here on the VPVR, similar to the spot price chart. And the stochastic RSI is in a similar posture, and the RSI also doesn't have any divergence currently. With the futures chart closing after today's price action, we'll also close the weekly candle on the futures chart, and this can give us a heads up as to confirming that we won't have divergence on the weekly RSI, and also that we may close the weekly at its highest ever level. That would be around 62,000. And for us to do that on the spot price chart, our highest ever weekly close is around 60,000. So currently we are above that level, and we have a chance of Bitcoin having its highest ever weekly close. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we are bouncing off this 4-hour EMA ribbon. We did go quite deep into the ribbon here on this pullback. It has acted as support. We've gone higher. We came back and tested it again and had another push up higher. So I did say if we do close a 4-hour candle below this ribbon, then I'd be looking for the top of that daily EMA ribbon to act as support and as a good long entry. We can also see a bit more clearly here these VPVR levels with that support around 57,000 to 57.8. And also lower down at 55.4 down to 53.9. Do also just have this trend line drawn, and this could be a possible area of support if we did have a pullback, and that would line up with the VPVR also. Looking at the stochastic RSI, we are quite high here. We have only just entered into this area. The RSI is more important with the divergence. And what we can see currently between this high here and our current high, the RSI is slightly higher at the moment, but we haven't closed this 4-hour candle. So it would be good to negate any divergence there. Onto market Cipher on the 4-hour. We did get that green dot on the pullback down at 54.3. And we have been going higher. It did look like we might have a red dot here, but we have pushed higher, and currently no red dot on the 4-hour. The 6-hour also still looks strong with no red dot. The 12-hour has been getting red dots along the way here, but we've been getting green dots not long after, and this still all looks bullish. The daily did get a red dot here on the 12th of October, I thought we might have a little bit of a bigger pullback here, but we did pretty much carry higher, and now we do have a green dot, and this isn't confirmed yet till the end of the day, but we see the 2-day following on here, supporting that 1 day, making that red dot on the 1 day not as significant, and we will open a new 2-day candle on tomorrow's open, and we'll also open a new 3-day candle on tomorrow's open. And as I mentioned in previous videos, these are following on from each other, the 3-day supporting the 2-day, the 2-day supporting the 1 day. And just keeping with that comparison from 2013, mid-cycle pullback, we can see that mid-cycle pullback here. We started recovering, and we're just comparing those to the current recovery. We had our big mid-cycle pullback here. We did a similar recovery to 2013, and now we're into the explosive end of the bull market, and we will be following here. We talked about these green dots. This is the 1 day, the 2 day, the 3 day, and the 4 day, 2013, 2021. We had that 1 day green dot, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day green dot. The same thing here with our current movement. We did get that red dot on the daily, but then we got another green dot, and we did have that several times in the run up in 2013. We also got red dots on the 2 day and the 3 day. So we could look for that in the future here on this run up. And once we do get those green dots again on the 1, the 2, and the 3 day, then we did really start pushing up quite quickly. So we'll keep looking at this comparison as time goes on. And it looks like Bitcoin just hit that 1.618 level. So I did sell a portion of my trade there, as I mentioned. So currently at 61,120. And this second possible target here would be at 63,350 from this bull flag 1-to-1 move. And just to quickly show you that trade, it was a 40,000 contract trade. I said I sold some here at 57,000. I sold 10% of it, 4,000 contracts, and I just sold another 6,000 contracts here, another 15% at that 61.3 level, at that 1.618 level. So you can see that it took this profits here just now, and it is still up 226%. So I have sold a quarter of this trade, and I'm willing to let it go higher now. And if it does drop, I'll look to add at the top of that daily EMA ribbon if we do get a drop down to that level. So I think that's about all. Bitcoin looks strong here. Can we close the week on all-time highs at 65,000? Maybe not, but if we can close the week at the highest ever close above 60,000, then that's a very good sign for the bulls. So I think that's about it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that analysis. I'm Bitcoin Mamo. I'll see you next time. Bye.